we are live. Hello, hello. I will probably have to mute everywhere. Hello, welcome. I'm Edith Wolek, brand and design consultant. I'm welcoming today amazing Ronnie Lo. She's a life coach. Let me just bring up your description, Ronnie. So, hi, Ronnie, first of
Hi,
all.
Edith. Hi, everyone watching this live or on the replay. Hello.
So, Ronnie Lo, a life coach, is a certified professional life coach. She specializes in holistic level up life coach. She is guiding high achievers who are ready to level up in every aspect of their lives with complete confidence and positive fulfillment. Her clients go from doing okay to being great, um, feeling fulfilling confidence, purpose, and drive. Wow, that's amazing. Who doesn't want to achieve that? Who doesn't want to be great?
Especially the positive fulfillment. And that's really what I have found as a coach. And that's why I said I specialize in level up coaching because, Edith, we're all fine. We're not broken. People think that they have issues and problems. Of course, we all do. Those are challenges in life. But coaching, as you know, is different from therapy or mentoring or advice or anything like that because you're where you are and you want to propel, you want to go forward, you want to advance something, become, I know it's a cliche, but cliches and platitudes become platitudes for a reason. You want to be the best that you can be. And what I have found is I'm evolving and growing as a coach. So I'm technically, officially, with my education and my training, I'm a certified professional life coach. I turned into a holistic life coach because I realized, while it may sound woo woo, it really is what we are. We are different facets. Holistic is mind and body. And then a lot of people throw in spirit or soul or psyche. So as I have been evolving, I just really found that your potential is just your possibility. Potential is what is that possible power. Potential, I hope I never reach my highest level of my potential because that means I no longer have any potential, the possibility. We have potency, which is our strength. So in leveling up, it's like you can always be a better you, not somebody else's definition of success. Of course, there's social norms for that. And there's, okay, they've achieved a lot. They've got the degrees, they've got the money, they've got this and that. There are people put markers, but whatever you can be, the best you can be, you can always keep optimizing and keep growing and keep learning from your mistakes. And we will never be perfect. I hope we're never perfect because what's perfection? That's subjective.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And tell us a little bit about who do you help?
Well, that's something else that's been evolving. And first, I really want to say I've known Edith for 2 years now. And Edith, you are like the epitome. You are the illustration or a perfect example of leveling up because, and I'm going to embarrass you now, but Edith, I wouldn't say shy, but she was, a little in her shell, happy. But from where I have met her and I have seen her just all of a sudden say, I want to have courage, this courage, which is an online platform for women all over the world, all over the universe. If we discover life on Mars, that's how far you would take it. You just came out of that little shell and said, okay, I'm going to do this. And a lot of people would just have been like depleted or just said, oh, forget it. And they give up because it's hard. It's hard to run an online magazine. It's hard to launch. It's hard to keep it going. You have your ups and downs and then momentum and crickets, and then you go up again. It's hard. So from where I have seen you, you have courage and you have leveled up because at every step of the way, you keep giving to other women a platform to speak out, and to show what they do and to offer their services and to learn and grow. And as this grows, this is a great resource. So you are like the perfect example of leveling up, because every time you reach another step, Edith, you keep going to that next step and you keep going to that next step. And I don't know what your definition of success is, but I think that you just keep going up and looking down going, wow, there's still a long way to go. And to me, perfection or success is feeling fulfilled. That to me is perfection, my own inner fulfillment. So each of us has the possibility of perfection. All our flaws are part of us. That's perfection. And so you asked me who I help. Well, I've also been evolving because, as you know, when you met me, I had just, all the COVID closures. I had just, I'd been in personal fitness. I was a personal trainer, and I'm still certified as a personal trainer. I keep that up. But with all the COVID closures, I couldn't go to my clients anymore, and I couldn't go to the private studios. So I went online. And then I started exploring things, and I started seeing what I could do. So I thought of being a fitness coach or a wellness coach or a nutritionist or a concierge. It's like, how do I plan your fitness plan? Because at the time in 2020, if you remember, a lot of women just got really busy and the kids were at home and everybody was working off the dining room table and everybody discovered what's Zoom. Oh, this is Zoom. And everybody lived on Zoom or Microsoft Team or whatever it was. And a lot of women, fitness was the first thing to drop off. While they wanted to take care of themselves, it wasn't at the top of the priorities because there were a lot of new things to deal with. And even if you had this great attitude and took care of business, there was a lot of anxiety. And anxiety is normal. It's natural. So my personal training clients said, go online, and they trained online. I discovered the great online business. They would talk to me, and I was doing a lot more listening than I was just actual exercising with them and showing them what to do. We would talk about their anxieties, their problems, how they had no barriers at the time, or their friends and their girlfriends and their families and their sisters, how they were still answering emails at night and they were still checking stuff, And so I would get on the phone with them. It's like, well, do you want me to talk to your sister? You want me to talk to your friend? And so my clients really turned me into a life coach, but they were saying, God, you really coach me. You really ought to be a life coach. And people started telling me this. So some people believe in fate. Some people say the universe is talking to you. I am very pragmatic. And I thought, well, if people keep saying this and if they see this in me, let me explore it. Because I really, you know me, Edith, I was kind of cynical. I ask a lot of questions. I'm like, what's a life coach? And I realized there's so many types of life coaching and coaches. From marriage coaches, relationship coaches, menopause coaches, fitness coaches. I mean, even so micro niches to, just women in brick and mortar coaches or, whatever. There's so many niches and accountability coaches and all these things. So I thought, well, since I'm coming out of the fitness industry, I should be a fitness coach. But I have evolved because the more I work with people, the more I have found who I'm gravitating to and who's gravitating to me. And so I kept listening to that instead of the business advisors that kept saying, you've got a niche, you've got a niche, you've got a niche, and all the bells and whistles and all the marketing things. It's like, I listen to myself, who am I gravitating to? And it really is all people. But as I am growing and I'm getting more clients, I see that it's really, my style is not so much who I'm helping, because I can only help women from 30 to 50. Why? Because I'm 57, which I am. Or why can I only help midlife women? That's great if that's what you want to do. But who I was helping were people who were ready to level up, who were ready to get unstuck. And we hear unstuck all the time, but people really do get stuck. Or they get complacent, or they've been thinking about doing, like, let's say what you wanted to do and you finally did it. And maybe COVID had some to do with it. And also because you started looking more into leadership and personal development, but people have been thinking about trying this or thinking about trying a career change. And that's one thing that COVID did for us, is that we started either losing our jobs, going on furloughs, or thinking, hey, let me try something new because I'm doing new things anyway. So my ideal client, if you want to call them that, is really people who are ready to stop wasting time thinking about something, or who have like this thing that they want to explore. So let's explore it. People who are ready, people who want to really bust out and see their potential and keep going. So I'm coaching. I almost said training. I'm coaching men. I'm coaching men who really want to go to the next level in their career or in their company, or maybe look for another career. I'm coaching women, same thing. Most of the women that I coach, and we'll get to the holistic part, but most of the women that I coach just really want to explore, what now? Um, do I stay at the company I'm in, or I'm empty nest syndrome? Maybe this is my time to become an entrepreneur, or do I want to communicate better in my company? Do I really want to stand out? Do I want to move up? Do I want to be in leadership? Do I not feel heard? That's mostly of who I'm getting. Women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who are just going to that next step. It's like, okay, now what now? I'm ready. And they want to stop attending all the freebie webinars and the conferences and all these things, all these do-it-yourself stuff. No, it's like that wastes more time and more money in their minds. It's like, I'm ready to do it. So they want to streamline it.
Yeah.
Their time is valuable. It's like, you see life getting shorter and shorter and how fast it goes. And that's when you're ready. Like, I don't want to waste time. When you're in 20s, you have your whole life ahead of you. Same thing in your 30s, and you're making a family and you're doing that. You still have time. When you get into your midlife, 50s, 60s, 70s, it's like, you know what? Time goes by fast. Let me just grab it by the reins and let me feel fulfilled.
Oh, that's amazing. But first of all, I wanted to say thank you for the compliments. And also, you started talking about um, learning, and like we want to reach our next level. And I always say, like, if I'm not learning something every day, I'm not growing.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how that's the support that you are giving to women and men who are going to that next level, going to up level their skills, or position, or life, or getting married and all of that, or people in corporate world that they want to have a different status. So it's amazing that you are creating that for them.
Yeah, I think
So
as we get older and wiser, we start wondering not just what is the meaning of life, but what's the meaning of my particular life, you know? And I want to fulfill my purpose. And a lot of people, and I know you have children, so I hope this is conveyed correctly. Um, a lot of people think, well, my religion gives me my purpose because this is what I believe. That's a way to practice your purpose, as is a philosophy or as is a way of life. And a lot of people think, well, raising my child, that's my purpose. I contend, what if you didn't have that child? Then what's your purpose? Well, whatever it is I'm doing. Or a lot of people think their job is their purpose. What we're finding out, my clients and me, because I'm growing with them, is you find what physically inside your psyche thrills you and fulfills you. And you insert your purpose into raising your children. What's my purpose? What makes me feel great? What's my zone of genius? What, no matter what, feels fulfilling? And you insert that into how you raise your children. And that includes your core values. That includes what you want to be in life and how you want to do it and how you want to be. You insert your purpose into your job. You insert your purpose into your community. You insert your purpose into your volunteerism. I mean, there are going to be jobs. A lot of people have gig jobs, like 3 gigs. You may not like that particular job or be where you want to be at that moment, but how about liking what you're doing and inserting your purpose into that job? Like some people are like, look, I
ooh,
just got to
that's
make a
so
living.
fun.
Yeah, it's like some people, I got to make a
So
living.
fun.
Great, make a living. But what's your purpose? What gives your life meaning? And you bring your personality, your core values, you, everything you are, working towards maybe doing that as a life. A lot of people live their purpose through advocacy or volunteerism or in other ways. Your job doesn't have to be your purpose, but you can insert your purpose and bring your purpose into that job. Like Steve Jobs, you think his purpose was to have Apple? No, it was to be innovative. That's what thrilled him.
Yeah.
Always innovation.
Yeah.
That's what fulfilled him. That's what made Apple. If he had done something else, he would have brought that same sense of innovation into that. So you bring you into your job, you bring you into your family,
Yeah.
you bring you into your relationship. So many women, as you know, because you've had so many great guests here, they have taken a back seat in their relationships because they're following the norms and they kind of don't really bring their full selves for different reasons. And until they gain that voice and they gain that strength. And it's not overpowering the partner. Let's say men, in this instance, it's not overpowering your partner. It's being absolute equal and bringing your A game and bringing everything you are and them loving that. If they don't love that, maybe that's not the right partner. So you bring your purpose into that marriage. How loving am I going to be? How giving am I going to be? How am I going to bring my full self and have them totally appreciate it while I appreciate them? And let me love their purpose and respect it.
Mm. Wow. You mentioned about women in a corporate. So, what do you see what is the number one thing you are seeing right now in a corporate world for women or for women in the workforce?
Mostly, it's interesting you ask that because I do speak to a lot of C-suite women or mid-management women who want to go up to the senior level. Right now, as like you see on Forbes or Fortune magazine or Wall Street, there's a lot of reshuffling and there's a lot of wanting to hire new talent. What I see, it's like, why so much hiring? This is what people who are in their jobs and afraid to lose their jobs or they want to level up, is that they're seeing that the companies are paying so much attention. Hospitals, companies, corporations paying so much attention in hiring and hiring and hiring. Look at the airlines instead of retention. And if they had thought of retention, of course, we're learning because the pandemic was new to a lot of businesses. But I'm seeing that I am coaching leaders into looking at retention. It's cheaper than hiring new people and developing new talent.
Mm.
Um, and I'm not saying in place of just hiring, but also as equal to hiring new talent. What do I do to keep this wisdom and this experience in the talent and skilled people we have? Retention. So that's what I'm seeing. And I'm coaching people who in HR and middle management to level up in this way to bring their team along with them as they're seeing how they can be heard and how they can excel at their work in order to be noticed, in order for their company to go, we've got our great leader here. Let's promote them. So what I'm seeing is there's a great chance for people who have experience, even if they don't have the job requisites, posted on a job description, but
Yeah.
they have the experience and the tenacity and the power and the wisdom to see how can I put myself, my zone of genius into that. How do I know I can do that job? I coached a gentleman 2 weeks ago, and I'm getting back with him tomorrow. He wants to look at different types of work in which he has never had any quote experience. He's never been hired in that type of work. Okay. And so I invited him to look at just not looking at the transferable skills, look at him. Who is he personally? What's his purpose? And what thrills him? When he finally came up with all that, we had a lot of homework. It's like, yeah, he loves working with kids. He loves working in volunteerism. He loves working in fundraising. He has never worked in fundraising or organizing events, but he knows he can do it because when he has helped in those arenas, he loves seeing the fulfillment in those kids and how much money they raise for their causes. So I'm like, well, what can you, if you were given this job tomorrow, hey, okay, you want to do this? It's yours. Could you do it? It's like, yeah. I'm like, how do you know you can do it? So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see how he knows because he's bringing himself into it. So when I'm coaching people, we start finding first what's your life purpose and then your dual purpose. What's your purpose at whatever your goal is? Is it, let's say it's your job. What's your purpose in that job? Or what's your purpose in that organization, or what's your purpose in that corporation, or what's your purpose in that relationship, what's your purpose in that having children or not, what's your purpose in your career change, whatever their goal is that they're working on, or what's your purpose in losing weight, whatever it is, it's a dual purpose. What's your life purpose? And as your touchstone, it's also your driving force. Let's say it's health. Is my health matching my life purpose? Am I feeding into and contributing to my life purpose? And am I inserting my purpose into how I eat and exercise and take care of myself and go to the doctor? Is it aligning with? Is it lined up with? Is it in alignment? Because a lot of us don't have the two in alignment. We ignore our life purpose. It's not woo-woo, it's pragmatic. It really is. Because when you start lining up, you see, do I really want this? Not just talk. And then you start doing the things that you need to do. You start forming the good habits, with a habitual way of thinking. You start finding how to form those habits that work for you. And it's not discipline and it's not willpower. It has a little bit of discipline, but it's mostly, how does this work for me? How do I create this practice? Because whatever you do consistently on a daily basis is a habit. You don't think about brushing your teeth in the morning. It's just a habit. So how do you make the things you want to do and get done in order to be in alignment with your so-called purpose? How do you make that's so natural and organic and second nature? That's what I coach my clients in. What's going to stick because it's second nature? Not like, oh my God, this is a chore, this is a task, I've got to do it, I've got to remember. Of course it's hard at first because our brains are not used to change and it doesn't want change. It wants what's safe. Even if you don't like where you are, it's safe because it's what you know. I could ramble on forever, sorry.
So what is the difference when you are coaching, or what is the difference between coaching and therapy?
Good question. People always ask that. I like to look at it as therapy really looks at your history, your background. You have children, their formative years are really from like 0 to 5, especially from 2 to 5, I think. You can correct me if you think it's a different age, but man, they soak up a lot, And so a lot of experiences, even if they don't remember the exact experience, a lot of that sank in when you were 2 or 3 or 4, good and bad. You don't have to specifically have a trauma to have an issue or a problem or a difficulty in dealing with something, but it could be traumatic. So therapy is a way to bring about why, what am I feeling, and to talk it out. And it's very good to look at your past or causes for however you are, whatever the reason is you're getting therapy. And in coaching, it gets you from the point of you've acknowledged that, you've recognized that, you've processed that. Okay, now where are we? And from where you have acknowledged it, you've recognized maybe this is what caused me to feel this way, or this is the trauma, or this is how I was raised, or I remember my mom saying this, whatever happened that formed you, that got you in that way of thinking and thus feeling. Then where am I now? I've processed it, I've accepted it. You don't decline it or say no and positive thinking my way out of it. No, you don't deny it. But you're here and you're like, okay, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to move up. So then coaching is more of, this is who you are now. This is where you are now. This is everything in your suitcase. Let's go. Let's optimize who you are. So while therapy, give it homage. And a lot of it, I think, can complement each other because some people get therapy and coaching at the same time. Coaching is moving forward from where you are. Therapy is kind of looking back so that you can move forward. So sort of like this is just one example. Maybe it's not a good example. Let's say, I'm not saying you have to be sick to be in therapy, but let's say you have an illness. You have to get over that cold in order to go start working out. You can't start working out while you have that cold. So you have to recognize, okay, I have to rest. I have to get myself better. Okay, now I'm better. I recognize I had a cold and why I got a cold because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't getting enough sleep. My immunity went down. So you realize the cause of why you kept getting sick. Now you're healthy. Let's go. Let's get better.
Got it.
Okay, that's
so
what
it's perfect description and very clear description to differentiate between therapy and coaching, which is really helpful. Not a lot of people understand the differences.
You've got
Um,
to be ready. You've got to be ready to pole vault over.
yeah,
Coaching can help if you've got a lot of issues, but a good coach will also recognize, possibly let's explore you getting therapy. A colleague of mine, she's a coach. She said years ago she coached someone into going to therapy first because that person heard therapy. It's like, no, I've tried therapy. I don't like it. Blah 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 blah. It did nothing for me. She was so, like hesitant and reticent and didn't want to do it. So they coached for a few months, and then finally she got her to a point. It's like, I could try a few sessions, give it another go just to see what it is, try another therapist. And then my colleague said, I lost that client for a good year. And then she came back to me a year later. Okay, I want to get coached. Wow, what a total difference she had made because she gave it a chance. But she had to go to a coach to coach her to at least give therapy a chance because she saw the
yeah.
stigma and it was the wrong type of therapist. So it's
Oh,
interesting. It's also interesting, since you asked me what's the difference, a mentor and a consultant is different. I'm
yeah,
coaching one consultant right now who wants to stop giving so much advice when people want to be mentored or coached at their work. So now he's looking into getting an outside coach
yeah.
into his company. He goes, I don't know what they mean by they want to be coached, because he just tells them what to do and gives them advice. That can be a great, because he's so used to being a consultant. They get together, they see what the problem is, and he's in accounting. So you need to do this, and he tells them what to do. He prescribes what to do.
Yeah.
And when you're a coach never tells you what to do, ever. If they do,
No.
run. Because coaching is for you to start realizing first, what am I thinking? What are my thoughts? That thought that made me feel that way. And your feelings prompt your actions or your reactions and your behavior. You got to think something first, even if it's a split-second thought, even if it's a second nature thought. Why did I think that? And why did it make me feel that way? And people work it out themselves. So there's a difference between a consultant and a coach, and they're both necessary. I want a consultant when I'm looking at my taxes. So I don't need a coach. And then there's also a mentor, somebody that's doing what you want to do, or is kind of like a good role model. And they can give you their wisdom and they can give you their philosophy, but they're just kind of seeing, okay, how you doing? How you getting along? But they're not coaching you. They're just kind of seeing how you're doing and checking in on you, like a good professor, like a good leader if you're a doctor and you're watching your interns, that kind of thing. That's more of a mentor. So it's good to know what it is that you want. I don't know if you guys have this program in the UK. Of course you do. Ted Lasso.
I didn't hear about him.
It's a program here, so it might make it there. But it's about this American football coach who gets a job coaching football, which is soccer there, and he doesn't know a thing about soccer, but he ends up being the head coach of this huge team, right? Anyway, he hires a sub coach, and one of their star messing up, and it's a star player because the sub coach didn't want to coach him yet until the player finally got the attitude of, okay, let me be coached, because he thought he knew it all. So finally the player called timeout, and he runs out on the sideline. He goes, coach me. And I love them. Like, that's it. It's like a sports coach. You are already on the team. You already have talent. You already have skills. A good coach will look at you objectively and go, this is what I see you're doing. What do you think you should be doing? How can you optimize your strengths? Already the skills you have and your talent. Let's tweak it a little bit. Make some suggestions, but you figure it out yourself, because you're in your body and you know how to do that. That's why, like Tiger Woods, he had a trainer and he had a coach, completely different from his other team, which is also his marketers and his consultant and all that. Okay, so a good sports coach is a great analogy. You already have your strengths. They don't tell you what to do with them. They just look at you objectively and go, okay, this is what I see, and hold up the mirror. And then you're like, oh.
Love it. Yeah, it's that's what it is. It's exactly that. I wanted to ask you a question about setting up boundaries. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
So why do so many women, especially in business, have problems with setting up and keeping boundaries when it comes to like the co-workers and bosses and all
we
the
hear a lot about this,
directors.
don't we, Edith? We talk about this a lot. We meaning women, especially business women.
Yeah.
I finally came into the realization that my clients were finding it's not so much of I'm setting up this boundary. It's setting up the right boundaries for the right reason. But mostly I see that even me, we thought boundaries were like, we're setting up boundaries so that they'll follow my boundaries, right? No, boundaries aren't for the other people. They're for you. Think about it. You have a country set up their boundaries, not for the other person to respect it, but for you to know where you are. And this is my home. Let's say you put up a fence around your home. You have a little ranch, and it's not to keep your neighbor out. It's for you to know this is my home. This is how I want to keep it and maintain it and grow my garden and have my house. And this is for me. And it is up to me to maintain that boundary, that fence. It's not for my neighbor to maintain that fence or respect it. They know it's there. I'm the one that has to go polish the fence, go up to the fence and go, hey, neighbor, have a nice chat, maybe invite him, walk around the boundary and come on in when I invite you. It's for you. And so what I see, to answer your question, the problem with boundaries isn't so much, one, that you're setting them up for other people, is that you're setting them up for yourself. You're the one that has to upkeep the boundary, and women especially don't tend to keep their own boundaries that they've set for whatever reason. And I've heard it all. They tell me, well, I try to enforce it. No, you don't try, because if you didn't, it would be enforced. You keep forgiving, you keep letting them not listen to it. You're the one that has to enforce it. Just like a mother, you enforce it with your children. If you let them walk all over you, you're the one that's not enforcing it. They're your boundaries for you to keep, not for others. The other reason is because of whatever fear you have or doubt. If you don't really want that boundary, like I'm not going to answer emails after 8:00, and then you feel like, oh yeah, but what are they going to think? Or they think I'm not accessible, I'm going to lose a possible client, or they're going to think I'm mean. Okay, those are your thoughts and your fears. People know they have lives as well. And if you explain it well, like, these are my office hours, and I'm all yours between this time and this time, and whatever piles up, you know that I'm going to see it the next day, and I welcome us all to have our boundaries. And then you keep them. If you lose somebody as a client, they weren't your client, because if they're so closed-minded they can't see that, it's okay, because you open up the time and space for other people. If you don't uphold your own boundaries with your family, they're never going to respect you. But when you uphold your boundaries, you also act as a role model for them to set up boundaries, and you respect them. But they also have to insist on you respecting them. So we set up boundaries thinking either we're going to punish them or control them. It's like, if I set up this boundary with my mother-in-law, it's because she just keeps coming over when I don't want her to, or so-and-so keeps calling me after this hour, so I'm just going to put this up so that they learn. No, it's not for them. You're not going to change the other people, ever. Their way of being and thinking is up to them to change if they want. But you can change how you hold up your own boundaries. We always think it's for them. No, it's for you. And the other thing I see with boundaries often is that people think that they either don't set up enough boundaries, or they're kind of weak, so they don't really mean it, or they set up too many boundaries, and they're really not boundaries. They're fears.
It can go the other way.
Yes, a lot of women set up these things because they're afraid, but they call them boundaries. They're not boundaries. They're hiding places. If you set up too many, then you might be a little too controlling, or just using them as excuses, as nice subtitles. You're calling them boundaries, but they're not, because you don't want to do some things, you don't want to try some things, you don't want to be available for somebody, so you call them boundaries. So really, you have to look into yourself and go, are they really boundaries, or what are you hiding from? Of course, I don't coach somebody in that way. I'm being frank with you. So I start coaching them into thinking, why would you call this a boundary? What would happen if you took plan A, plan B, plan C, and we look at all the plans in all the ways. What's the worst case scenario, best case scenario? We look at it in different ways and different perspectives. And a lot of it, and that's how I've discovered this, a lot of it comes out as like they're just afraid to try something, or they're afraid they don't have time, or they're not productive, or they don't want to go out socially, but they're afraid to say, well, why you don't want to go out socially? And usually we dig deeper, they dig deeper into themselves, and it comes up why. They put up too many boundaries and they close themselves off so they don't have to deal with things.
Oh, wow. I had no idea that you can put up too many boundaries. Too little, yes, it's obvious, kind of. But too many, I had no idea. So
Well,
very
let's say you don't want to
insightful.
deal with a marital issue. You hide behind, oh, I've got this boundary, I've got this boundary, I've got to do this for work, I've got to do this with the kids, I have my boundaries. When really they just don't want to deal with the issue. They don't want to deal with the real issue.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. So Ronnie, tell us a little bit of about your program and what do you offer to client, and how long is it going to take if you would be to take on a customer, a client. Um, we have a couple of minutes left. It would be amazing to let everyone know what is it that you offer.
Right now, I offer my one-on-one coaching. I really want to focus on that because my methodology is to identify your dual purpose. And then we work on that. We identify everything first. We optimize, and optimize is another word for growth. We optimize your talents, your skills, your potential, your zone of genius. We optimize what you're bringing in, whatever it is we're working on, and we execute. I'm like the queen of accountability. So identify, optimize, execute. That methodology is my style because I bring myself to whatever it is the person wants to work on, like a high fashion designer. I have my style if I'm Valentino, but honey, you come to me, what do you want this dress for? Size you up, measure you, where are you going to wear this? What do you want? What are the things you want me to avoid on your body and make and flatter on your body? Each dress is tailor made for you. Same thing with my methodology. I tailor each coaching to each client specifically for what you want, for your psyche, for your body, for your goal. Okay. And it's never about set the goal, here's a plan. No, we identify first. So I'm focused right now on doing one-on-one coaching. What I'd like to offer anyone watching this or the replay is one real working session, which is normally, pretty high cost, but not a strategy call, not a little hello meet and greet, and definitely not a sales call, a real working session. Bring me something, let's coach. You experience what coaching is. So one session. And you can find me on LinkedIn right now. I'm about to, as you know, come up with a website. I've already written everything for it, so I just have to format it and put it out there in the world. And it's going to be RonnieLoLifeCoach.com, RonnieLoLifeCoach.com. In the meantime, you can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm Ronnie Lo, RONNIELO Life Coach in LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. My full name is Ronnie Loiza, but I go by Ronnie Lo Life Coach. So I'd like to offer one working session on whatever it is you want to work on. And again, I'm a certified personal trainer, and I have specializations in nutrition and senior fitness, in midlife and hormones, all of this. So I can also help you with your health. That's why I'm holistic, mind, body, spirit. And so I'd like to offer that, and just come ready to work and come ready to ask a lot of questions and work on yourself.
Wonderful. We will add the link to your future. We can add the link to your either appointment schedule, to schedule an appointment, or to your social media as well.
Yeah, I have
so
my
that
Calendly in there, and just say, hey, I saw you with Edith on Courage, and you're in. And at the very least, you'll walk away with a really good session and a new connection. I love to meet people, and I love to see where you are.
Fabulous. Thank you so much to speaking to me and to our audience. Thank you very much, Ronnie, and I'm wishing you all the luck and amazing customers, or even better when they are finished with the program.
Yeah, and as far as time, usually we start out with they always want to at least 3 months. So I'm thinking 3 is the magic number, but it can be 3 weeks, it can be 3 months, it could be 6 months. Really, we want results. We want results. So right now, I'm not offering like a 10-week program. We really see what you want, and we kind of put a timeline on it. So, and thank you, Edith. I really appreciate you. And again, I just really see how far you've come and how much further you're going to go and bring people with you. So I really love being on this with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Really
Yeah.
appreciate your presence here. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye now.